Well, happy Sunday evening to you. Chris Hare, the two-time world champion team roper, bringing you another nightly update. I hope you had an amazing Sunday. But yeah, two-time world champion team roper, taking those strategies that I've used out in the arena and bringing them right in here to the crypto desk to make you guys world champion crypto traders. But I think we're pretty interesting tonight. I think there's some things going on that you guys are gonna like to see. I think we could see a couple of days of upside here. So without further ado, let's get into the charts. Let's kind of figure out what's going on. We're going to start off with the crypto fear and greed index. We moved up today. We're at 30. We were down about 28 yesterday, and the charts have kind of came up over the weekend. So I'm really not surprised by that. The big question is, how high do we go? And is this the real deal or is it a fake out? Well, we're going to break that down tonight. Hopefully you guys get a better understanding of what's going on. I honestly feel a little optimistic, but we are in a full-on Bitcoin season. We're at 25. We were same place yesterday. Until this goes over into these blues and we get into an alt season, altcoins are going to bleed pretty bad. When Bitcoin goes up, they'll go up, but when Bitcoin dumps, they're going to fall even harder. So that gives you an idea on where we are. That'll kind of lead us into Ethereum as well. Going to liquidation heat map, you can see there's quite a bit of liquidity below us, but it kind of stops out here around 105, 106,000, which if we grab this, good. But if we stay up here, you know, we're looking at a higher low, and that has me interested. We have some bigger pockets up here. We go to a weekly heat map, it's going to give us a better macro picture of what's going on. We'll give it a second here to load. Had a good day today, went to church. Took care of some horses this afternoon. Everybody's taken care of. Now we're back in the shop, bringing you guys what you're after. You can see we've got a really big pocket of liquidity up here at about 113, 114, and it's all the way up to 117 and 18. So cumulatively, we've got about $3.6 billion worth of short liquidations that the market makers are going to want to wipe out. Because what do you got to keep in mind, and why we use this liquidation heat map, is the market makers draw the charts. I like to call them lizard people, but it's the same thing. They don't care where your liquidations are, but they can see them. So every time you open a long, every time you open a short, they know where it is and they're going to come after it. But you can see we're working down now. There's a big pocket of liquidity right here, about 105,000. And then the bright stuff ends at about 104,000. And like I said, that is a higher low. So I'm kind of optimistic that we may see some kind of bounce here. There's a pretty big imbalance, 1.78 billion to the bottom side, and about 3.65 billion to the top side, like we said. But let's move on to the charts. It's going to paint a really good picture for you. I'm going to start with hourly charts tonight, and I don't usually do that. I don't really trade hourly charts, but I use them for confluence, and I want you to see what I see going on. So we've had our pullback, and we've stayed inside this parallel channel or descending channel, bull flag, whatever you want to call it, and we came on down, and we tapped out at about 103.4. But what you can notice is we found support there and we moved up to over 106,000, found a little more support, came up and tested this 50. This is a smooth moving average. So this takes 50 of these candles, puts a fluid line on the chart, and they work as very strong support and resistance. The line right here below it is this is actually the 50 simple moving average. I went ahead and put it on the chart because you can see they're in two different places, but it looks like we've kind of taken a bounce off of that. I'm not confident that this is the jump up. But what I want to see is I want to see us kind of stay above 106,000 or so. And I'll show you why. If we were to pull a Fibonacci on this from swing high to swing low, I thought I had it on there, but we'll go ahead and do it right now, because what we can do is we can measure this move that we're in right now. We've got a high, we've got a low, and you can see the golden zone, the 618, 786, falls right here between 104, 105,000. That's where I'm watching. If we were to drop below that, then your lower targets are in play. And when we get to the 4 hour, we're going to discuss those more. But if we can get a bounce above this golden zone or right inside of it, it's a bullish move. And we're going to start looking for upper targets. On the hourly, you'd be looking for 111 to 113. I really think if you break that, or if you get there, you're going to go up and retest 119 to 120. There's some really big bearish fair value gaps up here. I think that's probably a rejection point unless we can plow through them. And if we can, we're off to the races. But if not, we're probably going to look at lower targets. Going to the 4 hour, it's going to kind of give you a better idea. I went at that fibs on there. You can see where it falls in, 104, 105,000, right in this, right where these wicks are. So I would expect you to fill that out. We have broken out of this parallel channel on the 4 hour. And what they usually like to do is they like to break out. They come down and retest somewhere right here, and then they make their move to the upside. And it looks exactly like what's happening. I was a little hesitant because we haven't crossed the 50 moving averages on the 4 hour, and we've been there since the terrible dump before Friday. We've came up and tried to test them and failed. What it looks like is we're coming up and trying to retest it again and have failed, but I think we're going to find support a little higher and move on up. If we don't fall in the 618,786, I think your lower targets are in play. That's going to take you down here somewhere around 88,000, and that's where I really think that it wants to go eventually. I don't think it wants to go there right now, but if we can hold this and move up, we're looking at 116 to 121. If we can by chance get above this, your next targets are going to be 133 to $141,000. Moving out to the daily, it's going to give you the bigger picture. I went ahead and left Fair Smart Money Concepts on here because I wanted to show you the amount of support we have. And what it looks like is we've tapped this old fair value gap and we found a bounce off of it. So we're moving back up. You can see we're still in that daily golden zone, which I consider a no trade zone. If I was just trading the daily, if we're trading the 4 hour, that's why I went down to the 1 hour to get some confirmation on what's going on. But we can bounce around in here and fall out of it, or we can bounce around in here and break out of it. You can see where the daily 50s are. So we talked about that 110, 111,000 target. That would give us a retest of these, but we could break out, like I said, go up here to 117, 121. Next steps will be 132 to 140. I don't think we're ready to get here yet, but I could be wrong. A successful retest of this daily 50 and we move on out. You can see we haven't had a lot of luck at getting there yet. So if we do cross it, we may be looking at a lower high here, set it around $120,000 and move on down to these daily extensions at around $90,000 to $80,000. The 200 moving average is falling in right here at around $100,000, so I'm optimistic for that. But if we can't hold that, we've got to look at these lower targets, which is kind of dismal. But we may be ready to run up here. If we can retest this and rock on, I think that's viable. Personally, I think with the lower trend line that we've talked about in previous videos down here, I think we're really wanting to head down here. It's just going to drag it out a little more. And this thing may go on into November and December before we ever get some kind of breakout. I hope not, but that you can't rule that out. But I kind of think that's where we are right now. So moving on, we'll go to Ethereum. Let's pull up a liquidation heat map to begin with. I've got that on the weekly already. You can see it's working down through some big pockets of liquidity. Everybody entered late longs here, and it's just going after those. But then you can see it kind of thins out. There's not a lot until you get down to about $3,690. So cumulatively of long liquidations right now, we're sitting at 1.6 billion, 1.06 billion, and about 1.3 billion to the top side. But you can see there's an awful lot of liquidity around $4,000, $4,100. all the way up to about $4,300. So I think they're just had let some shorts pile in. There's a lot of liquidity up here, and I think they're going to want to probably try to grab it. But we'll go on over to the chart. We'll get a better idea of what's going on. I'm going to start off with the hourly on it as well, because I think the next 24 to 72 hours are critical as to where Bitcoin and Ethereum both are going to go. You can see right now we found some support right on the top of that 50 smooth moving average, but it's coming back down. I want to see it kind of settle in here around $3,800 to $3,700 in this 1 hour golden zone. The RSIs and everything are kind of overcooked here, so I think we're working down. But if we can hold this and bounce and break out of it, then we're headed up to these upside targets. First target's going to be 4,000 to 4,100. Your next targets are going to be 44 to 4,600. And then we'll get into the 4 hour chart here in just a minute. But I am a little hopeful tonight. This is a solid pattern. If we can come down and break it and settle in here and find support, then we're headed up. If we lose this golden zone, then we're going down here. And then when we get into the 4 hour charts, we're going to see exactly where we're headed. So here we go. We're breaking down. We lost that. We never did break the 4 hour 50, but we have lost the daily 50 as well. I don't think all hope is lost here. Like I said, we broke out of this descending channel. And if you go by the retest, it should retest somewhere around $3,750. and take off to the upside and maybe break out of this thing. That would put us around $5,300 to $5,900. Like I've told you before, they can fill out about half of this, so your stopping point would be $4,600 to $4,400. But there's a little hope tonight, and I'm optimistic about that. I think there's an opportunity for us to take some longs, and if we lose this, then we're going to look at some shorts. First target would be 34.32. Then we'd head on down to extensions, $3,000 to $2,600. Moving out to the daily chart is going to give you a little more macro picture of what's going on. So we're in a bull flag inside of a bull flag, and I think that's pretty darn bullish, guys. But this bigger bull flag out on the daily, we've been bouncing around in it for a while. I've included the wick that we had a week ago Friday, just because I think it's relevant. But you can see we're inside this daily golden zone bouncing around. There's another one down here right around $2,900. If something happens, we fail and can't get out of that 4-hour bull flag, that's probably where we're headed. But we can close here above $3,900 on down to $3,700, $3,800. I think our next move is to the upside. We'll finally break out of this 4-hour 50. Then your upside targets are going to be 4,400 up to about 4,600. And if we can get over that daily 50, $5,500 to $6,000 are your longer term targets. So I hope that gives you a pretty good understanding of what's going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum tonight. I'm actually a little optimistic for once. I know it's been about 2 weeks of me being doom and gloom, but I think we're finally there. I think we're going to get some upside. How much upside is yet to be determined. I'm still not ruling out those bottom targets, but I think it's there. So the key right now is just to be patient. I've been patient all weekend. I've been risk off after I told you guys I closed out those trades on accident. But now I've just sat around and waited. I've had a good weekend of not trading. It's been low stress. But like I told the guys in the crypto school, we're not looking for just a move. We are looking for the move. I want something that's going to take a 10 or a 15x long and create 100, 200%. I'm just looking for those bigger risk rewards, and I'm willing to wait on them because I don't like getting in and out of trades. I like to set my trades, not worry about them, get my stop losses in profit, have take profits set, and it's a free ride from there. It's super easy. It's super low stress. And that's where I hope I can get you guys. But I'm going to wrap this up tonight. Don't forget to check out the crypto school. I post all of these charts there. I'm there. If you want direct access to me, come on over. The link is in my description. You'll also find a link to my X and my BitUnex, where you can get you some sweet deals on trading. But I'm going to wrap this up tonight. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I honestly had a really nice weekend. It was nice to be relaxed, not in a trade, not worrying about anything. But anyway, we'll catch up on this tomorrow night. We'll figure out what happens throughout the day. I'll post some shorts if anything pertinent happens, and we'll get to the bottom of this, figure out what's going on. But I'm going to wrap it up. I'm Chris Hare, the multi-time world champion team roper, the crypto cowboy. We'll see you down the road.